up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Hi guys, welcome back to the barn. Hope you're all well. So this week I should have been removing the ladder from the roof of the barn, but unfortunately I've had a little bit of an issue with my foot and I'm not climbing. So this week I'm going to look at this intriguing little router jig from BOHAN. The purpose of this jig is to router recessed handles into the cabinet doors. Now I need to make around about a dozen cabinet doors in the barn for the various cupboards I've been making over the last few weeks. Not going to quite get round to that yet, but I thought, seeing I was a little bit incapacitated, I'd have a look at this today. Now yesterday I opened this package for my patrons and channel members. So we have got a very hefty jig, 2 brackets, 2 T-bolts, 2 wing nuts, a couple of sticky, double-sided sticky, 2 pins, an Allen key and a router cutter. There we go. So my first reflections of this jig is the aluminium frame is really sturdy, really well made, it's quite heavy, but some issue with this clamping mechanism. So we'll have a go at routering into a piece of timber. This little joinery piece I was making at the beginning of the video is actually a mock-up of a cabinet door. It's a stile and a rail. Try and router into this. Okay, so I've spent ages looking at the pictures on the Banggood website of how to set this up, and that is how it's shown on the website. So you just put your router in there and then recess that piece out. I think that curve there is going to get in the way, going to end up with a curve, so I'll probably have to set these little pegs up for maybe a 280. Move that down a little bit so I get a square cut on that end. Now I can see what it's trying to achieve. The issue that I have is this clamping method with these wing nuts on the back now means I can't put this down on the top because I'm rocking on there. So that's a little bit misthought through. I mean, I can put a screw in, only one screw in though. So I don't like this clamping mechanism. As I say, I can see what it's trying to achieve. You do that for this side and then you flip the pegs over and do the same if you've got a pair of doors. It does seem quite time consuming to do something that you could just do on the table router. So I'm not 100% sure what it's trying to achieve, if I'm honest. What I thought this jig was going to do when I took it was router sort of around so I could have an handle pull sort of on the stile and on the rail, but that's not the case. It's a little confusing. What I also thought I might be able to do was screw this into the centre of a board, like say the end of a really thick chopping board, and then router a little handle grooving, which you could do, but because this is not symmetrical, you'd end up with a non-symmetrical handle. It's one of these products that's kind of been half-baked in research and development. The design concept maybe was there, but the way it's been executed is not very good. So I'm going to fix this on. So I might just put a couple of screws in. I'm just certainly wouldn't trust that. I mean, I've tightened this up as far as I possibly can and I can move it. Certainly won't go to the effort of making lots of doors and then trust this to stay put while a router pulls in them all. Let's have a little router of it and see what happens. Quite like the profile, so the cutter's good. Probably in hindsight, machine that little bit too wide. So the cutter's okay, it's just the jig's a little bit weird to set up. And if you're machining these on the face of a door, then you're going to want them to be absolutely spot on every time. It's going to look strange if you manage to not cut them the same, because especially if they're a closing pair. It's as though the guy who designed this jig had £1,000, euros, dollars design budget, and he spent $990, pounds, euros, yen on the frame, and then he spent his last tenner on the clamping mechanism. It's just not good enough to guarantee you're going to get repeatable cuts. Right, let's put cutter in the router table and just do them there, because that's how I would have normally done them. So this is a draw pull cutter. Not used this before. As you can see, it's still in the packaging. In terms of profiling, it's pretty much exactly the same. It's a tad bigger, but it doesn't have the race on, and the race is obviously not needed because it's not going around the frame. So it gives me a little bit more variation of height adjustment, where this in the frame is stuck at a certain height depth because of the way it locates into the little rebate around the periphery of the opening. So let's chuck this bad boy into the router and see what that profile looks like. What are you doing out there? Are you hiding in the shade? It's absolutely roasting in here today. It is 31 degrees so far, and it's only going up as the high out there is 38 today. I know everybody's suffering from the heat wave at the moment. I need to get some fan in here. How do you guys keep your workshop cool? Obviously it will help when I get that side done and insulated, but until that time then the heat's just going to build in here. I probably need a fan, but then of course it just blows dust around. Do you have fans in your workshop? Okay, so that was just a run in and a stop for that cutter. So I could do that on, say, a cupboard door face. And then just to mimic a draw pull, which is what the cutter's supposed to be. Just a start and a stop. It's a nice little feature. That's the way I would normally do it on the router, not with the little guide. Now, I'm not going to beat Banggood up here, because Banggood are just a supplier of tools. It's the tools manufacturers that feed them. Most tools that they send are really good. This router fence here is absolutely superb. It's one of the best tools in my workshop. That frame is just lacking into it. And I think, to sum it up, if the workshop was on fire, I wouldn't be saving it. Right guys, I'll see you later. See you in the next video. Bye.